Full time. Aston Villa 0, Arsenal 2 here onto the Rokani Media Football. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rokani David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. You remember it very well when I obviously made my prediction. I gave Arsenal a win and I called in for a 2-1 win, I think, for the club of Arsenal. And guess what? Today, Arsenal has gone ahead to show to it that they are not going to repeat the same mistake they did last season. For whatever mistake they did, they are going to rectify it and obviously put themselves into a proper position to chase in for the trophy. I mean, look at the start. When you look at the fixtures of Arsenal this season, they are more harder than those that they went ahead of start with last season. But they've gone ahead to show to it that when they went to a side that beat them twice last season, they've gone ahead to collect 3 points, not even 1 but 2 points. Remember, when they went to this game of football, they had a little bit of pressure onto them after Man City had gone ahead to beat Ipswich by 4-1, and Arsenal looked like, we are gonna get this job done. We are gonna get this job done, and they did the needful and really killed it off in a nick of time. And Arsenal really did the needful and really put in a very huge shift altogether. Welcome to this channel. Remember, we are powered by Mono Gadgets. Mono Gadgets are dealers in phones, laptops. Those are brand new phones and brand new laptops. They also deal into what we call used phones and used laptops into the mix, and that is the side called Mono Gadgets. So if at all you need a phone, go outside there and dial +256 70 99 88 665. You understand? Go ahead and we dial that number and even WhatsApp them on that number, and the rest will be history. Then you will have them at your dial. That is it. You can also follow them up on TikTok. That is Mono Gadgets, because they are proud sponsors, because we have to reciprocate back the energy. They've gone ahead to give us positive energy. Let's also reciprocate back positive energy. If you have a phone and you're in need of buying a phone, at least go ahead and really follow them on TikTok and really be kept in the know on when to really gate which gadget and which gadget is really available. You understand? So that is what we are getting in through from Mono Gadgets. But let's get back into the game of football, as we thank God for the gift of life, and the Muslims, we thank Allah for the gift of life. Now, when you look at the side of Manchester United, they've gone ahead obviously when you look at the side of Arsenal, they've gone ahead to show their nerves. You get, having gone ahead to obviously not get most of the things right, but they found themselves getting what we call the finishing right. When you look at Arsenal, they had only 4 shots at goal, on target, but those 4, 2 of those crossed the line. You get? So it shows you how clinical this side was, and there is gonna be a very huge debate on who should be starting onto the left attacking side of the midfield, because look at how Trossard comes in through. He hasn't gone ahead to play, I think, close to 50 minutes into this game or in this season. But guess what happens? He comes on through and he really puts the ball at the back of the net. And that is what we should obviously really look at and really give the guy his flowers, because he is really the lad that has always gone ahead, obviously put in a very good shift, whether he starts or he comes off the bench. That is Leandro Trossard for you. And it was all seen in his celebration when he scored. He was like, I don't need to obviously be given what we call a celebration. You understand? Because you people don't want me in. You get? You failed to obviously gate me my playing time. And that's the message he has been sending to Mikel Arteta. Even when his fellow players shook him up and said, please, at least smile a little bit, he was like, why should I smile? Why should I smile? I'm the man who gets the job done, but the manager really doesn't want to start me ahead of Gabriel Martinelli. And this is where favoritism kicks in at the side of Arsenal. That is it. Because if you don't really see this happen, then you have to come up and obviously agree with me that a lot is not really going the Arsenal way. That's what you have to obviously come in through and really call in, because this was a moment where you all thought that things are really gonna go the way Martinelli wanted them. But Martinelli, for the previous 2 fixtures that have gone ahead to be played between Wolves and Aston Villa, he has been a calamity. He has been calamitous. And if I told you an Arsenal fan outside there, you can all agree with me that Trossard deserves a start. He comes in through, and look at his impact. Look at his impact. You get his impact off the bench has been the best. And tell me any player who has gone ahead to have more goal involvements than Leandro Trossard ever since he came into the club of Arsenal. I remember last season he scored 17 goals and I think he had some few assists. The other half of the season he played, he had 10 assists and 1 goal, taking that to like 30 goal involvements you get into seasons. And now he has gone ahead obviously getting his 31st goal. Who at Arsenal has what this guy is really having? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Trossard needs to be onto that starting 11 of Arsenal. And we also did that last season. For him to score all those 17 goals, he was the man responsible for obviously starting most of the games, and he sort of it that he did the needful. And no one was really regretting for the absentia of Gabriel Martinelli. But each and every time Gabriel Martinelli is here, most of you are really calling in for this guy to come in through. And when he comes in through, you know what he does. He puts in a very huge shift as a player, and I really love it when he's on the field of play. And you saw to it that it was not only into the first goal that he really was involved by him scoring it, but he obviously found himself in a position of really being responsible for that cross for the second goal that found Saka, and Saka did a pullback to Thomas Partey, and Partey went ahead obviously put the ball over the goalkeeper, and he really curled it past all. He curled it past the defender, that is Paul Torres, and he was really obstructed by the defender, and then Martinez, the goalkeeper, couldn't obviously come on, really put in the very good shift. And it shows you that the guy is right, because every time you look at what Arteta is really doing for the man known as Trossard, I think it is not really good. You get? It's not really good. He needs to obviously come on through and really put in the shift for the player known as Leandro Trossard, because he doesn't really take long to really pull that ball into the back of the net, because this is what he does, and we all know how good he is when it comes to doing this. Let's talk about Saka. You get? Saka today has been involved in 2 goals, but I believe for the first one, they're going to deny him an assist because there is a tap or a front boot touch from Kai Havertz. Then it goes to the defender of the side of Arsenal, the defender of Aston Villa, and it goes into the back of the net. So I believe it might not be given to him as a player, but we have to all admit that he's really doing wonders. I tell you, he is really doing wonders. That is Kai Havertz. And let's talk about Saka. Saka scored a goal against Wolverhampton Wanderers and had 1 assist. And today, he has gone ahead to find himself involved in the 2 magical goals that have gone ahead to say Arsenal go past the side of Aston Villa. And that's what you've always gone ahead to call for Saka. Now, for everyone who says that I really have an agenda on Bukayo Saka, I think you should now get to know what my concern has always gone ahead to be. My concern has always gone ahead to be this. You need to come up and really be consistent. And that's what Saka is really doing. He's getting hold onto that ball and is playing it in the best way possible. And 2 games have been decided by him. That is the Saka I want. And this is a big game because Aston Villa is no longer a small team. It's like this giant that is really coming to cost these other teams the trophies. And if at all Saka raises up to the occasion today and put in that shift, then we have to come up and obviously do the due diligence of really giving him his flowers. Saka looked really great today, and I really loved what he put out onto the field of play today. He really looked good, and he went ahead to give Arsenal that win. Thomas Partey did justice to that ball of Bukayo Saka, and I was like, that's what you get when you're really having a player like Thomas Partey in such areas. And last season, I think, but one, he scored a goal like that against Tottenham Hotspur, remember? And today, he has gone ahead, obviously, come up and obviously scored it in the most needed time. Because Arsenal had gone ahead to take a lead in the 67th minute, and Aston Villa were attacking them left, right, and center. Then, 10 minutes later, Partey kills off the game. And you know what it is for Arsenal. Guys, it's very hard for Arsenal to concede 2 goals. You know that very well. At 1-0, there was a chance for Aston Villa to obviously get back into the game. But at 2-0, there was no chance Aston Villa could get into the game of football. You understand? And the manager really went ahead to do the needful. And it was like, all right, after all that coming in through, then what are you going to be doing in here for you? But also, David Raya, that save he makes, you know, it was a close range header coming in through from Ollie Watkins. Superb save. I've been listening to Ian Wright, and he was like, now, when you look at the performances of the player called David Raya, you know, and those textbook saves, no more questions on who is supposed to be the first choice goalkeeper of Arsenal. It's written all over the wall that the first choice goalkeeper of Arsenal is supposed to be David Raya. He has gone ahead, obviously, establish himself in between those teachers of Arsenal, and no one really doubts his abilities, because Arsenal fans are by far excited, and he has gone ahead to keep them into the game to keep another clean sheet in a row. And if you keep a clean sheet against Aston Villa, it sends a very huge message to what Arsenal is really going to be doing like this season, because in the game of Wolverhampton Wanderers, David Raya was responsible for the clean sheet. You get 2 worldies he made as saves, and today he has gone ahead to make another worldie. You get Onana tries to hit at him, the body flex of a defender, and he cannot reach it. The crossbar comes to his savior, and then it comes to his saving, and then it ricochets back into play. After ricocheting back into play, it falls in the vicinity of one of the deadliest strikers in Ollie Watkins, and Ollie Watkins heads that ball into the vicinity of David Raya. But David Raya is being hailed for what he did because of the speed he uses from getting from the ground where he had gone ahead to fall. You get? And he really reacts good and really gets that ball, and it's a clean sheet for the side of Arsenal. So another clean sheet kept, 2 goals scored, and now they have 4 goals into the season as their goal difference. And this season is really going to be hard. When you look at how Man City is executing its stuff, when you look at how Arsenal is executing its stuff and really making things better, it obviously sends you a message that we might be having a Premier League winner who is really going to be collecting 100 points plus. That is it, because Arsenal is not here to joke. They've gone ahead to put in a very huge shift, and everyone is like, the team is really ready to do everything that they got wrong right. That is Arsenal for you. And when you need a team that has to respond to win the trophy, that is Arsenal for you. And you all remember very well, right? You remember very well on how it wasn't all that good for the side of Arsenal throughout the season when they failed to win. 2 times failing to win. This time around, they're like, we have to take Man City to the wire. And if at all we have to take them to the wire, we should really do it ourselves. And they're really taking it. They're taking it in their hands, and they don't want any other team to obviously help them. They want to win their games, and for Man City, it's up to them. But one player that we have to talk about is Julian Timber. I think let's first obviously go through this and really talk about how Julian Timber really looked bad into this game of football that Arsenal won by 2-0. We are having Aston Villa 11 shots. Arsenal is having 9. 3 shots on target by Aston Villa, 4 shots on target by Arsenal. 39% ball possession by Aston Villa, 61% ball possession by Arsenal, 321 passes completed by Arsenal, then 502 passes completed by Arsenal, 82% completed by Aston Villa, that is passing accuracy, and Arsenal had 91% passing accuracy. That is really super, super, super good. Then 8 fouls by Aston Villa, 12 fouls by 15 fouls by Arsenal, 1 yellow card to the side of Aston Villa, 3 yellow cards to the side of Arsenal, 0 red cards to either sides, and then 3 offsides to Aston Villa and 1 offside to Arsenal, 4 corners for Aston Villa and 1 corner to the side of Arsenal. It shows you how this team came in through when they're gonna hit to read the room very, very, very well. You understand? They had gonna hit obviously read the room very, very well, because as it stands, a lot happened. I tell you, as it stands, a lot went ahead to happen into that game, and you all know to it that Arsenal is one of the best teams that went ahead to obviously find themselves in a position of really of really scoring very many goals in set pieces. And this time round, a team like Aston Villa, knowing exactly what they are all about, they've gone ahead to deny them set pieces. And I think it was intentional, because Arsenal had only 1 corner, and for the side of Aston Villa, they're also deadly, and they just got in 4, but Arsenal defended them very, very well. But that shows you how good Arsenal is really looking. And now we go here onto the table. Man City, 2 games, 6 points, goal difference 5. Brighton, 2 games, 6 points, goal difference 4. Arsenal, 2 games, 6 points maximum, goal difference is 4. Tottenham Hotspur, 2 games, 1 win, 1 draw, 4 points. Nottingham Forest, 2 games, 1 win, 1 draw, 4 points in there for you. So that's where Arsenal is, and I think the table is really very, very exciting for the side of Arsenal, because they really want themselves to be there, and they're really putting the Rokani shift all together to put in everything that is really well required, and everything is really being taken onto the best level possible. So as it stands, right, Arsenal is 3rd on the Premier League table, and they're going to be really doing the needful. But let's talk about Julian Timber. He looked really bad. He looked rusty. I really understand why, because coming in from injury, not training for like 2-3 weeks, get some minutes against Wolverhampton Wanderers, starting the game, because the manager was like, all right, it's really, we need a defensive guy, but he did his job in there for you, and that's why the manager felt like, all right, now let me go in for Ricardo Carafiori. And Ricardo Carafiori came in through as a left back and really featured very well and put in a very huge shift. By the way, I was really very pessimistic on Arteta dropping in this guy in this game, but he was like, I want to throw in Carafiori, because I believe it's high time for you to come in through and obviously put in a shift and really start to do the job for the side of Arsenal. And guess what? Carafiori put in the Rokani shift altogether and did the needful. And the other positive, taking off Bukayo Saka towards the 90th minute and really rest him a little bit. And obviously they got in Reece Nelson, right? It really looked good. And getting on Carafiori, getting on Trossard, for me, I think is the game winner for Arsenal. So Arsenal is really gonna be playing their next game before we go to the international break against Brighton at Emirates. That is next Saturday, and that's gonna be what we call an early kickstarter. They're gonna be playing Brighton. So that's what I had to dissect about this game of football. More is really gonna be coming in through, but I think I've gonna hit at least to break down almost every point in there for you. A clean sheet, Trossard off the bench scoring, and Arteta has been really given a vibe. He needs to start this guy in the game of Brighton, and he has to bench Gabriel Martinelli, because I believe any good manager is supposed to be picking players on merit, not favoritism. Not so. Then the other guy, only the other reason, is all about a player called Julian Timber, little bit rusty, and then the man comes in through called Ricardo Carafiori, and finally he gets his debut for the club of us. And I think we'll break down these things in what we call the 5 things we learned from Aston Villa 0, Arsenal 2. May the living to God bless you abundantly. We are powered by Mono Gadgets. dealers in used phones and used laptops, even in brand new phones and brand new laptops. Call them on +256 70 99 88 665. That is Mono Gadgets for you, and they'll really be at your service. You can as well follow them on TikTok, search for Mono Gadgets. And the Muslims, we thank Allah for the gift of life. So we are out. See you later. And we are going to be returning, I think, with lots and lots of stories that are concerning the side of Arsenal. Bye-bye.